Welcome back to Out to Lunch here on WRMN. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. We've been talking a lot about Fringe Festival that's coming up. This is a fantastic time to explore Elgin and see some creative people. One of those creative people is right here with us today on the phone. Victoria Montalbano is a solo performer, comedian, and storyteller whose work often blends nerd culture with candid reflections on midlife identity and the artistic struggle. Her more recent show, Timey Wimey Stuff, the midlife crisis of a time traveling space archaeologist, uses a Doctor Who-inspired lens to explore aging, creative identity, and life during the pandemic. Victoria, thank you very much for being on with us today.
Thank you for having me, Dennis. It's so great to be here.
Tell us a little bit about what we are going to see, especially from this Doctor Who lens. It seems like you've nailed down a very specific nerd culture.
It is, although I have to say that if anyone listening is not a Doctor Who fan, that's fine. It's not a prerequisite for enjoying the show. I will kind of explain all of my references during the show. So I want to put that out there. But basically, I came up with the idea because during the pandemic, I was an out-of-work actor, like so many artistic types were, and I was an essential worker doing grocery delivery for much of the time the city was shut down. I live in the city of Chicago. And so kind of what got me through it was sort of escaping into nerd culture. That's when I binge watched all of Doctor Who. I hadn't been a fan before then. And that wasn't the only thing I got into, but that's of how I made it through.
Did you start with the Ninth Doctor? Or did you go all the way back?
I started with the Ninth Doctor. I think that's what's most sort of readily accessible in the U.S., so that's where I started.
And it's a great one as well because you're right. It did bring a lot of culture for the U.S. over. But also, you were talking about other different aspects of nerd culture. Was there anything else that you dove into during the pandemic?
Yes. Well, I was a Star Wars fan and had been since I was a kid. But I had only seen the movies. I hadn't kind of dove into any of the animated shows. And at the time in the pandemic, Disney Plus was still pretty new as a platform, so there weren't as many Star Wars TV shows. But during the pandemic, I went back and binged all of the Star Wars animated shows, like the Star Wars Clone Wars and Rebels, and kind of went back and watched like the Star Wars prequels, which I hadn't seen in a very long time, and all of that. I also rewatched all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the spinoff show Angel.
Definitely some staples.
I get into?
Joss Whedon on there too. Some Firefly.
Yeah, I got into. That's when I watched all of the MCU movies. I had never seen I had seen superhero movies, but I hadn't gotten into the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe before the pandemic, and I watched them all then as well.
And how do you tie in that nerd culture for that different flavor with bringing it to modern times, or kind of making it more realistic with some of these characters?
Well, with this show, it's less about being realistic because the whole idea is that I was pretending I was not in the real world, and I was pretending I existed in the Doctor Who universe.
Well,
So it was
I guess
less
it's
about
not. I guess it's not being realistic. More about humanization of these characters, right? Because we always see them as these big Herculean or these godlike figures. I guess it's about humanizing some of these people rather.
Sure. Well, I tend to sort of take on the persona of a Doctor Who character. And so for me, this show is about questioning your legacy, which that's sort of what a midlife crisis is, right? You're like, oh, I've reached this age. I'm in my 40s. What exactly am I going to be remembered for? What am I leaving behind? What am I contributing to the world? And as an artist who at the time was, not able to be an artist, you're sort of thinking, wow, I've given my entire life to this thing, this career, this work, this whatever your art is, and I've bypassed a lot of the other kind of life milestones that most people have. Like I don't have a partner, I don't own a home, I don't have any kids, and it's because I've given my life to this art. And so what I compare myself in the show to the character of River Song, who is a recurring character in the Doctor Who universe, because River Song loves the Doctor. That's her whole thing. She became a space archaeologist so she can always track down the Doctor wherever he is in time and space. And she's given her entire life to the Doctor. She loves them. She is not sure if the Doctor loves her back. Throughout, that's a lot of the arc, her arc on the show Doctor Who. And I am asking the question of, wow, I've given my entire life to make art, and I am not sure if this artistic lifestyle, this career loves me back, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does, because when you dedicate your life to anything, whether it's a career or whether it is a person or people, it is a sacrifice. It is a decision. You do give up other things to choose this path because you're not taking other opportunities. So I guess, is it more of a reflection and less of maybe like a through a lens of regret, but more of a lens of reflection?
It's more a lens of reflection, I would say, although I'm not sure that's quite the right word. But yes, I can't think of what the right word is. But I also want to say it is funny. sort of.
Of course, through that
topic,
Gen X millennial type of not necessarily dark humor, but that situational humor, right?
Yes, and I dive into. I'm an elder millennial, if we want to put a title on it. Yes, it's very much. I tell a lot of personal stories. I'm a storyteller, is how I developed the show. So it's a lot of kind of examples. I talk a lot about being jealous of other people I know in the entertainment industry who has become successful, people I know from drama school or just from being an actor. So I talk a lot about kind of dealing with that jealousy that is sort of inherent in, I mean, really with anyone, but I think it sort of comes out in an artistic career, if that's what you're going for. Mm-hmm. So I talk about that. I talk about kind of like sort of the dumb things you do when you're younger that, have we actually, as you get older, it's like, oh, you should have kind of moved on from, all the dumb stuff you did as a kid. Have I moved on from that? Am I still living? And it's also sort of dealing with the fact that I don't feel middle-aged. I'm in my 40s, but my lifestyle still seems like the way you would live in your 20s. Mm-hmm. Not exactly the same. I can't get super drunk anymore without having a 48-hour hangover, that's different. But as far as like my general lifestyle, I don't have like the responsibilities that most middle-aged people have. And so just kind of dealing with that, watching everyone else I know kind of grow up around me, where I still am in this kind of younger person place.
That's okay, Victoria. We all have a chair that has laundry on it that needs to be folded. It's okay.
Everyone needs a laundry chair. Yeah.
Exactly. Victoria Montalbano is an actor, comedian, and solo storyteller based here in Chicago. With roots in improv and storefront theater, she crafts deeply personal, fandom-tinted solo shows that combine humor, vulnerability, and pop culture. Tell me a little bit about how the Elgin Fringe Festival is a little bit different than maybe the Hollywood Fringe Festival or the KC Fringe Festival that you've been to.
Well, the main difference between those is the Elgin Festival is a little smaller, just because Elgin is a smaller place. I'm not sure. Is it I don't even know. Is it a city? Is it a town? I don't know what it's classified
I think it's a city.
As far as size.
I'll have to double check that.
Yeah, Elgin is a smaller city than Kansas City or Hollywood. And what's really nice is the community in Elgin is a little smaller than in those other cities, but very dedicated. We were out last night. They do a preview party over at the Martini Room there. And I was out there last night where everyone kind of pitched their shows. And the audience that is there is not huge, but they are so excited for the Fringe. And because of that, it's really easy to kind of create this nice community because you have a chance to literally meet everyone in the room. And everyone seems really excited to be out and about in downtown Elgin. It's such a nice place, just the downtown area. There's so many great businesses. All of the venues are walkable to each other. Mm-hmm. There's a nice little hangout spot at Fringe Central where you can go, you go to pick up your tickets and your Fringe buttons and that, but it's also just a hangout area. So that makes it kind of different and special in that way.
Victoria Montalbano, you can go to victorianotvicky.com or follow her on Instagram at notvicky4. Victoria, when can we see you here in Elgin for the Fringe Festival? And then what's next after the Elgin Fringe Festival?
Well, my shows this weekend are this coming Friday. That's tomorrow. Friday at 9 p.m., Saturday at 6, and Sunday at 4. And I'm in the Side Street Studio Arts Theater, which is up a flight of stairs. And then after this weekend, you can also just find me kind of hanging out. I'm hoping to see a lot of other shows while I'm there. And I'll be in the TARDIS dress, so you can always find me. And then after this, I don't have anything booked. I tend to do my shows on the Fringe Festival circuit, and Elgin is sort of at the end of the season. So the rest of the year, I'll be kind of hanging out. You can always find me around the storytelling community in Chicago and the suburbs, telling stories. And hopefully now that the show is open, I'll be trying out some new stories. And you can catch me around there. I'll be at the first ever West Suburban Storytelling Festival on October 11th, and that's in Downers Grove. So you can look that up. And other than that, hopefully I'll be touring to other Fringe festivals next year. I just have to wait and see.
Well, thank you for being here with us today. I'd love to have you in studio sometime. But we're definitely going to see you this weekend. Timey Wimey Stuff, the midlife crisis of a time traveling space archaeologist, performed by Victoria Montalbano here at the Elgin Fringe Festival. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Those of you out there in Radio Land, stick around. We've got some more Out to Lunch here on WRMN.
Get ready for Around the